Millions of Americans tuned in that night, expecting nothing more than a fiery political showdown between two rising stars of a new generation. Karoline Leavitt, the sharp-tongued Republican spokesperson with a reputation for unapologetic fire, and Kash Patel, the Indian-American attorney turned government official, respected for his sharp intellect and measured calm under pressure. No one could have predicted how quickly it would turn from debate into something far bigger than politics. It happened in an instant. An insult hurled like a weapon. Karoline leaned forward, eyes narrowed, her voice slicing through the air. "Why don't you just go back to India?" The words cracked like thunder. The crowd gasped. Anchors shuffled in their seats. For a heartbeat, even Karoline seemed stunned by what she'd unleashed. Because it wasn't just an insult, it was a dagger, sharpened by centuries of exclusion, prejudice, and the quiet violence of othering. It carried the weight of every immigrant told they didn't belong, every American forced to prove the legitimacy of their roots. Kash Patel sat still, silent. He didn't flinch. He didn't fire back. He let the words hang in the air like smoke, refusing to give them the satisfaction of a reaction. The cameras zoomed in. Millions held their breath, waiting. Would he erupt? Would he collapse? Would he trade insult for insult? He did none of those things. Instead, in a voice steady, low, and unshakable, Patel began to tell a story. "My parents came here from India, with nothing but hope in their pockets," he said. His eyes didn't leave Karoline. His tone didn't waver. They worked 2 jobs, sometimes 3, just so their son could have a shot at the American dream. I was born here. I studied here. I served this country. In national security. In the Department of Defense. In the White House. I've dedicated my life to protecting your freedom. My freedom. Our freedom." And then, a pause. A silence heavier than anger. "And yet tonight," Patel continued, "you tell me to go back to India." The words struck harder than the insult itself, not because they were loud, but because they were undeniable. His calm turned the stage into a mirror and forced every viewer to confront what they had just witnessed. The studio was pin-drop silent. Kash paused, his face resolute, his voice steady as stone. "Let me be clear," he said. "I will not go back. I will not shrink down. I will not bow out. Because this country, our country, belongs just as much to me and my family as it does to you. I am America. My story is America." The eruption was immediate. Not outrage, not shock, applause, pure, thunderous applause. Some in the audience rose to their feet, clapping through tears. And across the nation, millions sitting in living rooms felt a pull in their chest, a reminder of something bigger than politics, bigger than party. It wasn't about red or blue anymore. It was about belonging, about the promise of America itself. Karoline shifted uneasily in her seat. Her smirk faltered. For the first time all night, the confidence she wielded so easily cracked under the weight of the crowd's gaze. She tried to speak, stumbled for words, but the applause swallowed her whole. Kash waited, calm, collected. He let the noise rise and fall, the way a conductor lets an orchestra play to its natural end. And when the room finally quieted, he continued. "This country's greatness," he said, "does not come from shutting people out. It comes from bringing people in. My parents weren't told to go back. They were welcomed. And because of that welcome, I am here. Because of that welcome, I serve. That is the America I know. That is the America I love. And that is the America I will continue to fight for, no matter who tells me to leave." Karoline's face burned crimson. She stared down at her notes, unable to meet his eyes. But the damage was done. Only this time, it wasn't Kash Patel who bore it. It was her. And then, like a spark in dry grass, The moment caught fire. Within minutes, the clip was replaying across social media. Hashtags lit up feeds. Number I AM America. From veterans to immigrants, from college students to retirees, voices poured in, sharing their own stories of sacrifice, perseverance, and belonging. Thousands of personal testaments echoing Kash's words, weaving together into something bigger than the debate itself. The fallout was swift, and it was brutal. Commentators on both sides of the aisle were forced to weigh in. For some, it was the most powerful moment of the political season. For others, it was a stark reminder that words, even careless ones, carry consequences far beyond the stage. But for millions watching, it was something else entirely. It was a reminder of who we are, of who gets to claim America, and of why, even in division, the promise of this country can still bring people to their feet. Structure for a 30 to 35 minute pacing version opening. Hook, 2 to 3 minutes. Tease the moment that silenced a nation. Use suspense. Describe millions tuning in, unaware of how one insult would flip the entire debate upside down. Set the stage visually. Camera pans across the studio. Anchors. The tension in the air. Backstory, 5 to 7 minutes. Profile. Karoline. Her rise, her reputation as unapologetic fire. Profile Kash Patel. His immigrant family's story, his government service, his reputation for composure. Frame it as a clash of not just personalities, but worldviews. The moment of impact, 5 to 7 minutes. Build suspense leading into Karoline's insult. Replay the insult with slow-motion visuals, audience gasps, reaction shots. Let the silence linger before Kash speaks. Use sound design to emphasize the weight. Kash's response, 7 to 8 minutes. Deliver his story in full, adding pauses, close-ups, and layered music to heighten emotion. Show audience members, tearing up, clapping, anchors frozen. Use flashback visuals of immigrant families, the American dream, veterans, all tying into his words. The turning point, 3 to 4 minutes. Contrast Karoline's visible unraveling with Kash's calm. Show the moment trending on social media, hashtag I am America. Layer in real audience tweets, imagined headlines, reaction shots from commentators. Aftermath, 5 to 6 minutes. Headlines. The insult that backfired. Clips of bipartisan condemnation. Kash's follow-up interview where he delivers the line about dignity always wins. Social media testimonials. Americans sharing their own immigrant and resilient stories. Closing lesson, 3 to 4 minutes. Wrap with the universal message. America is not about ancestry, but about belief, resilience, and unity. End with his words. I am America. My story is America. Fade out with music and the lingering sense that this was more than a debate. It was a cultural moment. Enhancements for emotional depth. Layered crowd reactions. Zoom in on individuals wiping tears, standing, whispering to each other. Sound design. Silence after the insult. Slow swell of music during Kash's story. Thunderous applause. Visual callbacks. Cutaways to images of immigrants arriving in America. Service members saluting. Families at naturalization ceremonies. Narrative pauses. Let Kash's words breathe, giving the audience space to absorb.